Examples include the Nigeria Infrastructure Fund established in 2011, the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund in 2014, India's National Investment and Infrastructure Fund in 2015, the Canada Infrastructure Bank in 2017, the United Kingdom's National Wealth Fund, and the South Africa's Infrastructure Fund. We have drawn lessons from all these experiences. I remember we sat down here with many of the people who have developed these funds. IFC was on the table with us. I have had conversations with my good friend Tadesse on this, and Tadesse, 2.5 years ago, encouraged me, Mr. President, think about owning your own horse. And the horse he was talking about is the National Infrastructure Fund. Thank you very much, Tadesse, for your insights. You know, he's a pastoralist, so the horse. I want to thank our development finance partners, including the World Bank and the International Finance Corporation represented here today, who have supported us in designing this framework. The statute we have signed today specifically allows the National Infrastructure Fund to leverage the technical expertise of development finance institutions, of which Kenya is a member. The National Infrastructure Fund will help us, number one, prioritize what is important to us. Number one. Number two, structure our priorities and make them or package them into investable instruments. That capacity, as was said by our banks here, the banks will come in, our DFIs will come in, so that together we can build the capacity to be able to structure what is priority for Kenya into investable instruments. And number three, we will be the first in. We have the resources to either de-risk or to participate in making sure that other investors see us in the equation rather than us encouraging them to be in the equation. Indeed, I must acknowledge that without the responsiveness of our regional and global partners, including the Trade and Development Bank, Afri-Exim Bank, the Africa Finance Corporation, the Africa Development Bank, the World Bank, Kenya would have faced far greater difficulty navigating the global financial turbulence of the last 2 years of my administration. And these good people have been friends to us. We've had very difficult conversations sometimes, but we have been candid and we've been open in our conversations. This development of today is so consequential that when I asked my friend, the CEO of AFC, almost 4 days ago, that we are going to have this event, he canceled his travel and waited because he said he must speak on this occasion because it is a most consequential occasion, not just for Kenya, but for the continent. And you have heard his statement. He has said with clarity that we must build the future rather than wait for that future. The National Infrastructure Fund gives us the opportunity to build the future rather than wait for it. He has said another fundamental statement because I was listening very carefully. He said, for a very long time, we have been exporting our jobs FOB and importing inflation CFI. Did you listen? So it is time to change that And this is the opportunity, working together for us to change that. And I will, with a lot of pride, work with you on your theme of Africa we build. We will be there because we want, this is our continent we must build. At a very personal level, I have been building. Yes. From right here in State House, this structure you see here, I built it. And you can see there is construction going on. And it's not just going on in State House. It is going on in markets. It's going on in hostels. It is going on in housing projects. It's going on in the roads. It's going on everywhere. We are building Kenya, and we will work with you to build Africa. Because that is what it is. That is how we are going to transform our nations. I also wish to thank the people of Kenya and Parliament for their support in passing the National Infrastructure Bill. Through public participation, thousands of Kenyans contributed ideas that helped strengthen the governance and transparency provisions contained in the final act. In approving this legislation, Parliament has once again demonstrated foresight, responsibility, and a shared commitment to strengthen the long-term foundation of our country's growth and prosperity. Let me single out the Leader of Majority and the Chair and Committee of Parliament on Finance. Please, if they can rise up so that we can applaud them. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. When I finally write my book, you will have a special chapter. Because what we are doing today is very, very consequential to the development of our great nation. Today's moment, therefore, represents more than a creation of a fund. It represents a new chapter in how Kenya finances its future. A chapter where we invest at scale in the foundation of a first world economy, transforming agriculture through extensive irrigation and water infrastructure, expanding modern infrastructure, including roads, rail, ports, airports, and logistic corridors that connect our farms, factories, and markets, and scaling up reliable energy to power industry, innovation, and value-added production across our economy. A chapter where our ambition is matched by our capacity. A chapter where the savings of Kenyans today build the infrastructure of Kenya's tomorrow. And a chapter where development is not postponed for tomorrow, but financed confidently today. Let me conclude by saying today is a most important day for me. You know, when I see us moving from the discussions we've been having, when I listen to what the private sector is doing, and I want to associate myself with what the banks have said. You know, when we asked our local banks, when we had a crisis of fuel in Kenya, we didn't have oil products in Kenya because we had serious shortages. And we asked banks to step in so that we can create a G2G framework. Some banks were shy, understandably so, but some stepped up. Today, I am very proud of the contribution of Kenya Commercial Bank. In fact, they endured a lot of ridicule. They were told that they were so much in bed with government, they would suffer many consequences. But look at what has happened. The share of KCB at the Nairobi Securities Exchange has moved from, what was it in 17, 18, 20, what? 15 shillings in 2023, today is close to 80. That is what happens when you work with government in a structured manner. And friends, we are not mad and we are not fools. We know what we are doing. And we want to do it with you. We want to work with you. I am very happy that many of our banks now believe in what we are doing, and many of them are stepping forward. I want to encourage you that we will be prudent, we will be responsible, we will be transparent as well. And we want to have a candid conversation with our financial institutions, because we must together be prudent in the management of the resources of our nation. We don't have a nation that belongs to the private sector, neither do we have one that belongs to the public sector. We are one, and therefore we will work together. Let me say one more thing. Lindsay Capital worked with us in raising resources for the building of Talanta, one of our very big stadia that will host AFCON next year. I saw a gentleman say that, William Ruto and the government, they have already pledged for 15 years money from our resources to build Talanta. Yes, we have. That's correct. That's what we have done. But I want to ask the question. The last 15 years, what has that fund done? Do you have anything that you can see that that fund has done for the last 15 years? Nothing. Cabro here, a gate there, some other money stolen at the corner, others appropriated at another place. We are better off pledging 15 years when we can see a facility like Talanta Center standing, because then there will be no money to be stolen and there will be no money to be appropriated or to be misappropriated, because the money will be locked up in an asset that we can see. That's the whole difference. So if you are complaining that we have pledged money for 15 years to build Talanta, before you make that statement, tell us what that money has done the last 15 years. At least we can show that we have an asset that we can begin to use today. And we can monetize it today. That's how we are going to be innovative. That's how we are going to change our country. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I am carried away. So forgive me if I have spoken more than I should, but I am very happy that we're all sitting here as Kenyans, and we are thinking about how we can synergize, we can bring the private sector, we can bring the public sector to be able to grow our economy, develop our country, because that way we not only create jobs for our children, but we develop our country that will benefit, and when the economy expands, it's good for everybody. It's good for the private sector, it's good for the public sector, it's good for Kenya. I want to pledge and commit to you that whatever it takes, I will continue to lead from the front. Whatever the consequences, I will continue to lead from the front. Because you don't get the opportunity to be president anytime. It's a privilege and a great honor. And while I have it, I will do the best that I can, because it is high privilege to lead a nation. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for coming for this occasion. Sasa kazi inaanza tomorrow morning tukisonga mbele. God bless you. Thank you very much.